So this session is going to be more about breathing and the nervous system, and less about the muscles of the body. So I will probably do less postures, more breathing. As I do this, there's sensations that are released, and those sensations cause the body to change the oxygen for carbon dioxide out of the muscles that are involved. I'm using the fingernails and basically slightly scratching here. Notice the stress on contraction is really here and not here. Here is the stress, so that you pressure the diaphragm. So energy is being tracked in here, here, under the shoulders. Energy is being tracked here. Now here. Now energy is being tracked in the thighs. You use the fingernails again and produce a sensation as I do this.
Are you applying the stomach lock by pushing it forward?
No, the stomach lock is being applied there just by itself, without the help of the physical system. So there's two ways to apply the stomach lock. There's the traditional method, which is to operate the muscles of the body, the physical body. And that applies also to the subtle body. But you can also apply the stomach locks to the subtle body, and the physical body can be totally relaxed. So sometimes, even though I'm not displaying a lock physically, there is a lock being applied on the psychic level. This area here now. So areas like this inside. Oof. Backwards neck lock. So this happens with very relaxed. This is relaxed. These muscles are not taut. This comes up and then drops. But everything here is relaxed. It's faster. This is a difficult posture. Now pressing the heels forward. The whole pelvic region is placed on the heels. This posture is best done on the ground, not on concrete. And if you are doing it on concrete, make sure you have good padding. If you don't have good padding, you will not be able to do it fully, because you'll get a pain in your feet. So I will turn to show it. Make sure that you put in the air in so that it drags against the sides of each lung. This will cause the lung, the alveoli or lung cells to be more aggressive in grabbing the oxygen. Otherwise, if the air does not rub against the walls of the lung, it will go in and come out and it's not being absorbed in the system. Always raise up to be sure that you are sitting directly on the pelvic area and you're not doing this, which makes you sit on this sacral bone back here. The idea is to make sure you're on the pelvic area. If you raise up, you will be able to resituate the body. And listen to the way the air is it's rubbing against the lungs. This posture is a little difficult, but it's really not so difficult as it seems. Again, resituate so that you are on the pelvic area by raising up. Now this is lotus posture. It is difficult. When you bring this one up here, always raise up and try to get yourself so the pelvic is straight down. If you find that you must sit like this, still raise up and try to do your best to bring this out. This posture that I'm going to do can also be substituted for this posture using the fist as to push the body up. You bring the fist close in, push up. No, the actual posture is the full posture is this, but you can substitute that one I did first for this one. spinal twist is done like this. Key in spinal twist is, the twist is actually an upward twist, like a corkscrew. You turn it out, it goes like this. So it's not really just, most people do the spinal twist like this. Lateral action going like that. No, you should do it so that this is the spine sitting on the pelvic area. It comes up as you do it. Don't do this, because if you do this, you will affect the muscles that hold the vertebrae together in a negative way. So the other mistake people make is they do the spinal twist in a single motion, meaning I start like this and I'm doing the twist as I'm situating myself. This is incorrect. First, situate the hands where they're going to be and keep the spine in the forward position, then apply the twist, because then you can pay attention to what you're doing. So first the hands go wherever you want them to be. Ideally, this hand grabs the toe, this is on the knee, and then you twist. You're going up. So it's not really a lateral twist. So you do like this. The other side, again, hands, and then you apply, you pay attention, apply the twist. So you're going upwards as you do. This posture is a mighty posture if you have very stiff muscles here. You do this posture. It's not an easy posture, but it does wonders in time. Come out of it slowly. Come back. This is backwards neck lock. This lock prohibits Kundalini from going into the head and causes that Kundalini becomes distributed in the trunk and then goes into the head. So this is an advanced posture, because initially this posture is not done. The backwards neck lock is hardly used. Usually it's the forward neck lock. But as you advance, you can switch to the backwards neck lock. When you have gotten it to the point that you're not falling over, you do not lose track of the system, then you do the backwards neck lock. Otherwise, it's the forward neck lock, which is a chin lock. Basically, chin goes back. Basically, you put a backward pressure to clamp onto the vertebrae, and that causes the Kundalini to go into the head through the center of the vertebrae. Now, this posture, which I did before, is a posture that I first did when I was in the Philippines in 1969. And why did I do the posture? Because I could not do the lotus posture. My body was not designed for it. So I actually began doing this posture just instinctively, and it caused the thighs and calves to relax so that I could sit in lotus. So I will do this posture and show it. So the hands are basically down like this, flat, but this is at an angle when you first start out. And the feet, you're on the toes. You come up and then you drop down. You're dropping down this part of the body onto this. This thigh is dropped onto the calf. It's like this. The hands don't really move. What happens is you relax the elbow. If you notice, my elbows are going like this. They relax, but my hand stays down flat. And this pressure, eventually these muscles, they relax a little bit, and that allows you to do lotus posture.
So over time of doing that, one is able to do lotus. It could take years. It probably took me somewhere in the vicinity, I would say, of 7 years before I was able to do lotus properly. Now there's variations to lotus. There's easy pose, which is this. You bring this here, and you bring this here, and you do this. This is easy pose. One of the easy poses. Even this is difficult to do. If this is tight, this is going to be difficult to do. So there's an easier pose. This is people who are really stiff. They just bring this in like this and sit like this. This is also an easy pose. What is happening is that this is resting on the heel area. You sit like this. So this is acceptable also as a yoga pose. This, bringing this foot up here can be very painful. It was very painful for me in the beginning. And that's why I use that posture which I just demonstrated. But you are supposed to bring this thing up here. Some people, they're sitting like this, where the spine is curved, and they bring this up here, and then they bring this up here, and they end up sitting like this. Is not the lotus. This is not recommended. Do not do this. Always try to, as soon as you get this foot up here, try to raise this up, push the body up, and come forward. Then do this. Then bring this one up. So that's how that is done. Okay. A posture that helps too is this one like this. This helps to relax this tendon that runs, the Achilles tendon runs here into here, and then it connects again and runs this way. Do this. When you do this, keep the head up and keep the spine straight. Do not do this. Do not bring the head down. Do not have the spine bowed like this. Keep the head up, keep the spine straight, and only come down as much as you can. You don't have to come all the way down. No, you don't have to do that. When I come down like this, it gives me a strain. This is my stopping point. But for somebody else, this will be the stopping point right here. You should stop at your stopping point. So this exercise, you inhale as you come down, exhale as you come up. So it goes, and you work your way into your pain. Pain is your friend, right? It tells you this is too stiff. So it gives you an alert. You work into your pain. Notice I keep the head up. The whole action is I'm feeling the stretch here and some tension here. Has nothing to do with my head coming down and my back being arched. Oh. 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 So those are a series of deep breaths, but with the exhale through the mouth. When you do the exhale through the mouth, it allows that you can push a little harder than when it exhales through the nostril. But you inhale through the nostril. So it goes, oh, oh, oh. Notice that the diaphragm action is being shown here. Oh, 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 oh. Now that has caused an accumulation of breath energy, so I can feel the sensation. It was really here. It's just like the dispersal of all these little twinkly little bliss force in the center right here. As soon as I began speaking, it stopped. Sometimes what happened, let us say that I'm doing a posture like this and I'm breathing. So I do, let's say 10 breaths, whatever, till I feel like the system is not taking breaths anymore. So then I stop. Then I may come to this position. When I come to this position, I feel the energy circulating. It may begin circulating on this side or on this side, maybe in my arm somewhere. I'm sensitive to the energy. Now, as soon as I try to come out of that posture to go into an opposite posture or any other posture, the sensation ceases. So you have to be on guard with that. You have to be sure that you do not come out of a posture and kill the sensation. The other aspect is that if you sense it, if you move out of the posture, the sensation will go away. Stay in that posture. Keep track of the sensation, its movements. And as soon as you know that it has stopped, that the energy is dispersed, begin breathing again. Don't keep holding your breath. This is not a hold your breath practice. Okay. Now, the thighs are a problem, serious problem, because this is the longest bone in the body, and it's very instrumental in helping the body to produce blood and so on. So we have to change the attitude of the thigh, because the thighs feed the sexual function. That's how it's designed by nature. So if you're not going to be using a sexual function, if you don't have a purpose for it, you want to shift your attention to other subjects, you need to get the thighs under control. They have to come under control. So you have to work really aggressively at getting energy into the thighs, getting this oxygen into the thighs. It's not easy. Yes, you pull in this energy into the lung, but how do we know it's going into the thighs? We don't. So this is where the postures or the asanas come in. The asanas are there, given by Patanjali. It's one of his systems. It's also mentioned by Gorakshnath in his books, where he gives 6 processes of yoga. He begins with asana. Patanjali gives us asana as the 3rd process. Gorakshnath gives us asana as the 1st process. So why they say asana? Why? Because without the help of the asana, you cannot get to those places like the thighs. The Kundalini is using the thighs for its own purposes. If you want to change that, you have to get there to do it. If you hire somebody, say, to clean your basement, and he doesn't do it properly, you never check on it, then it will become neglected. And this is what has happened. So you have to go down into your basement yourself and clean it, or supervise the guy who you hire. So we have to try to get down into the lower part of the body if we want to reform it. Otherwise, everything is just talk, right? We just say, oh, I'm holy, I'm this, I'm that. It's just talk. It's not really happening. Just imagining that the thigh is being cleared out is nonsense. Stop this. You have to actually get in there and do it. So there's a series of exercises which we do. I will show some of them now. These are mostly targeting the thigh. It also targets the calves, the feet, and so on. But the main target we begin with is the thigh. I'm doing this. It's not my head coming down. No, it's a total target for this thigh. Bringing this into the thigh. Again, this is targeting the thighs. In this case, I'm targeting the thigh in the back more than anything else, not so much the front. But for me to do that, I have to get this guy out as far as I can. Get this heel out as far as I can. Right now I'm pulling mentally and physically my entire thigh from the knee and pulling it up, pulling the tendons and muscles up to draw this energy up out of the thigh into the trunk. Is it painful? Yes, to some extent it is. But you know, it's one of those things, no pain, no gain. You can imagine I've been doing this since the 1970s, since 1973. And I'm still doing it. Now I'm pulling the muscle in the thigh from the knee up. This effort causes that eventually the thigh will become less interested in just feeding the sexual functions of the system. This is also the same posture in a different way. This one, there's a little sliding action of the knee that's in the back. These postures are so important that I've been doing them since the 1970s, and I'm still improving these postures with a body that is 69 years of age. I am still improving these postures. So if I can do this at 69, I know other people can. They can improve. Variation is to come up like this. And believe it or not, even though I'm up like this, the only place where there's tension is in the knee and in the thigh. Come out of it. Now I was able to breathe a session there for a little longer time because the thighs released a lot of carbon dioxide into the bloodstream, and because of it doing that, the system took a lot of oxygen and got rid of a lot of carbon dioxide. That carbon dioxide is good if you want to be a weightlifter, if you want to be a wrestler, if you want to yeah.
It is.
Oh. Backwards neck lock. Pucker the lips. Keep this very tight in here. So I'm not holding the breath. I'm watching the distribution of the energy that's been brought in. It hasn't stopped distributing. As soon as it stops, I will begin breathing again. Do not hold your breath. Causing sensation using the fingernails. Yeah, I used the forward neck lock. Kundalini has spread out in the trunk, in the neck. When you find Kundalini in a certain zone, wherever it is, pressurize it inwards. So as you do this, Kundalini will burst out. Then you bring Kundalini back in. And they'll burst out. Then you bring it in. Sometimes when you try to pressurize it, it will resist pressure. It will just remain there. That is okay also. So this is a dangerous posture when you are doing this and you do this, likely the body will fall down. Don't relax. I can relax in this posture because my body will not fall. Now, the actual ideal way to do this is you do the breathing here as I did, then come up, applying the locks as you come up, paying attention, no spacing out, no looking around, no mental nonsense. And then get the hands in the back of the thighs. You can just rest them on the thighs or you can pinch the thighs. It's best to pinch the thighs if you can, in the back, and then raise this. This is raised. Push forward a little bit and raise this. And what happens is you have what is called a small of the back here. there's a kink in there, and that kink in the Sushumna Nadi will relax. And as soon as it does, Kundalini will rush into the head if you're not careful. So I can do it. But when you do it, if you're not careful, you're not paying attention, you will space out and the body will fall, which is undesirable. So let me do it and show that. By the way, this posture is squeezing the tendon. This is called Achilles tendon. And you're actually using the thumb and this first finger and squeezing tight here. This is what Yogi Bhajan taught me in 1972. You squeeze this very, very tight. Notice I'm like this. I stop, I pay attention, get my wits about me, I don't space out. I know what I'm doing. I'm paying attention inside. I'm not looking all over like a crazy person. As soon as I come up, I'm applying my locks. Immediately, no nonsense. Locks are applied. This is applied. There's a squeeze in action here, an action up here. My neck lock is applied. I'm looking inside, paying attention. So if there's any movement of energy, I come down like this. Do not stay up. Don't try to be a hero. If you sense any type of movement, immediately bring the body down. This protects you, because if you fall from here, you might get a little bump on the head, but you will not end up in hospital. So do that. Now let me do it again. Once I get to this position, things are okay. You can grip here and then pull this up, but keep this neck locked. Don't do any nonsense. Get here, then you pull this up. This will release Kundalini every time. Now, a time will come when this will not release Kundalini, because if you have a kink in a hose, and eventually the hose straighten out, there's no more kink. So this will stop happening after so many years of practice. It will not happen anymore. Rarely will it happen. But in the beginning, there's a kink here, and the reason for this kink is obvious. Kundalini wants to use this energy for sexual purposes, so it stops it from passing here, and it builds up here for sexual purposes. Yogis, we don't focus on that, so we want to relieve that kink. Now there's variations. This is what Yogi Bhajan taught, so I'm showing it. Everybody can see it. But there's variations. This is a variation. This one was not taught me by Yogi Bhajan. It's taught by other yogis how to do this. This is a variation, the same posture. You can also do it on the outside. It's not so good on the outside though as it is in here. But if you're strained, you can do it on the outside. This is also a variation. This one, the elbows and knee touch. You put, there's a pressure that you apply to the elbows right here. The main thing is that the spine is parallel to the ground. As parallel as you can get it. It's horizontal. So that's the main feature of that posture. So it's very important again. Whatever it takes to tighten that up, pay attention inside. Then you can release this. Even though I'm not even doing much of anything, grip the thighs, it keeps you steady. The thigh grips also forces Kundalini to behave, because Kundalini is involved in the conspiracy with the thighs. This and the sexual function work together. That's it. You're trying to break that. You grip here, it breaks that. Kundalini then kind of sobers up. You pull this up, but this neck lock is here. Even though I pulled this up, the neck lock has to be applied. It's not like this, and my neck is anywhere. No, you have to apply the neck lock. And this is the forward neck lock or chin lock. Okay.
So lock, because that posture, I usually lock before I stand. So lock after you stand.
You should lock before you stand because you're not an expert.
Yeah, that's what I do now. That's
But if you have full attention, as you develop full attention, there's no need to do that. And I'm applying locks in a subtle body that you cannot see. This is another thing. This practice is physical and it's subtle, or physical and psychic. So if I'm doing something psychic, you cannot see it. You think it's just a physical process. It's not. This is not physical yoga. This is subtle body yoga. But because we've identified ourselves as physical beings, we have to start where you are.
yeah.
You know, everybody, we got to start. So we start as a physical thing, but as you develop, this will become a psychic process, because ultimately it's the subtle body is what you're trying to get to. The problem is in the subtle body. Who cares about the physical? Okay, another posture that helps you with Kundalini is the gorilla pose, which is like gorillas. You see them stand like this, with this down like this. It's a very nice posture. All the four-legged animals, they can run so fast, because their lungs are horizontal. It's not like ours, vertical. When something is vertical and you're working with gravity, you got to go up and up and down, you're struggling. But when it goes horizontal, it's easier. It's a lot easier because you're not working with this gravitational pull. You're working like this. So this is a nice posture. You can remain like this. You can come back like this. You can quickly stand up. Very quickly stand up. Apply the locks here. Anything funny, come down. Train your body so that anytime there's a shift in consciousness, you can bring the body down. Just like that. It just comes down. You can practice this. This is a technique, and the body will do that. Otherwise, you get caught off guard and the body will fall to the ground. Any questions? So basically what I demonstrated there is the breath infusion more than the asanas. Remember, you have the pranayama or breath infusion, you have the asanas, the postures. So a yogi has to begin shifting towards this breath infusion.
Yeah.
In fact, in the time of Lahiri Mahashaya, they used to sit for hours and do this Viloma Anuloma practice for hours, minimum 2 hours.
How do you do it?
This is the alternate breathing. They would do that for 2 hours or more. It takes a ton of concentration because you're talking about inhaling and mentally tracking this inhale all the way down to the base chakra, holding the air for a certain count. Now you're counting this inhale. It used to be I think it was a 2-4-2 count. You are counting.
Exhale for 8, inhale for 6, hold for 16.
Yeah, well, it varies according to stage of practice. It's not just one count. So you inhale and the air comes in. You track it. You're inhaling, you're tracking, you're also counting the amount of time this inhale is going on. When it gets down there, you have to hold it for a certain amount. Then you're bringing it up the other side and releasing it through the other nose. And that's coming up for a certain count. And you're doing that for 2 hours, keeping a track of taking it down, bringing it up, switching the nostrils, counting all. If you miss the count, you have to start over. Because the minute you miss the count, it's finished, it's dead. You're wasting your time. You have to keep the count. You have to keep the tracking and stuff like that. That's what they did. But in that time of history, those people were not tied up with so many anxieties, thoughts. They weren't exposed to so much association. Yogis did it in isolation. Sometimes the yogis would be doing that, nobody would know. You might have read in Yoga, this book about yogis who guy went and he met this yogi and the guy was sitting there. He was actually doing that. And he would be isolated. Only certain people could meet the guy. They'd go in these caves in the Himalayas or someplace and they would be isolated. So that's another thing too, is that that is pranayama. They just sit in one posture and do that. You cannot do that because first you have to subdue the body. First you do asanas, was the system, and you subdue, you get these muscles and stuff under control. You find out in the body all the parts of the body that are against what you want to do. You're in this body, living in this city of 9 gates, it's called. What are the 9 gates? 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 2 ears, mouth, anus. There are 9 gates. You're in this body, but you got enemies living in there with you. You have to subdue the enemies. You have to get in every nook and cranny, get the crooks and criminals out of your city. So they would do that, the asanas, and find these places. Then they would do the pranayama. So that was the process. After pranayama, then you do pratyahara. After you master pratyahara, then you do dharana. After you master that, you do dhyan, and then samadhi comes easy as a matter of course. So that's what they did. So now we're not in the position to do that stuff.
Yeah.
Our lifestyles are wrong. The whole atmosphere, the mental atmosphere of the planet is bad. You can't go to the Himalayas and do anything. You've got to deal with the Afghan terrorists. You got to deal with the people in Nepal who was fighting the Indian government. You got to deal with tourists going to see Mount Everest. There's all these things. You got to get a visa.
Yeah.
Okay? Those things didn't exist in the time of those guys. They didn't have to do that. So, as you practice and you get the physical system under control to some degree, you can then begin shifting over to doing the pranayama. And you will still do the physics. You see me, I'm doing physical postures. I'm still doing postures. You will still be doing physical postures. You will find that the Kundalini is now bursting in other parts. Like sometimes the Kundalini bursts in the foot, in the thigh, in the calves. This burst that used to come up now, it's occurring elsewhere. So this whole subtle body that you have is now beginning to change. And that's how you know that you might be able to go to a higher zone. Because the bliss feelings that you're getting correspond to the existence here. Just as we, on this planet, if you're not taking liquor or herbs or something, there's a normal consciousness that you feel. That's natural, eating just regular earth food, right? Without taking intoxicants, okay? Or things that shift your mind, okay? In the same place are these other lokas, they call them, or dimensions. There's a particular type of consciousness one feels there. It's described. So you begin to experience this now. This is how you're experiencing this now. And Patanjali says, by causing your psyche to have this quality of existence that these devas or supernatural beings have, you will gain the ability to transit there after your body dies. So that's the secret of the whole thing. You have to get the body now, you have to get in the subtle body and try to reach these places where it's always a blissful existence. It's not here where you have to drink alcohol.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta smoke pot or something, you know, to feel happy. Or, you know, my father used to say he's going to spread joy, meaning he can buy so much liquor in the liquor store, you know. So anyway, that's it. Any questions?
You answered them.
Okay. So tomorrow morning we will do a session about around 4.
Okay.
You can plan. We will do it out here.